It's a Core Fighter Cockpit that comes with 3 bonus figures. After initially not being too impressed by Mega House's Gundam Military Generation line, I decided to give them another shot. Because how could I say no to 3 Federation pilots whose accessories can combine together to form a cockpit for the core fighter? And by extension, the gun tank, gun cannon, Gundam, and even the vanilla gym. So in order to make this cockpit, I had Hubbling Japan supply me with the 3 required sets. Number 4, generic main character, number 5, not Ryu, and number 6, Sayla. Links to buy them down below. And just going by the boxes, it is very easy to tell who's a titular named character and who's not. Sayla gets bright yellow markings, gets shown in full color on the front, and isn't wearing a helmet. Whereas the other 2 get more subtle blue markings, are in grayscale, and have their helmets on. Just like you should when you're fighting in space. But fear not. As you can tell through both the clear window and the back of the boxes, all 3 figures do come with both a helmet face and a regular face. So let's pop open those boxes and have a look at what's inside. And dear God, where do we even begin? Poor Sayla has it the worst. Her toe is broken, her waist, lower arms, and one of her shoulders are a completely different color from the rest. The red has some serious color bleeding issues, she has a face that only a Nissan could love, and despite the box and the marketing materials showing the metal rods inside of the joints covered up, they're just bare metal. If you told me this was a bootleg figure, I would have believed you. The other 2 then fare slightly better, but slightly is the key word here. Generic main character number 4 suffers from the same color issue, but to a slightly lesser degree. The white looks like it was thrown on there with Tipex, the front of the helmet had some serious painting issues, this rod is permanently sticking out, and somehow out of the joints of all 3 of my action figures, one of them is actually covered. I don't know if this was the mistake or if everything else was the mistake. Not Ryu then fares the best out of the 3, or maybe I should say the least bad. But he still has a face that shows that he has seen some shit, or perhaps the rest of the Gundam Military Generation figures. And unfortunately, I have to withdraw that statement, because just as I was about to render this video, I realized that he has 2 left feet. But will the accessories make up for the visual deficiencies? Because something has to justify that $40 price tag a piece. Right? And just as a side note, that $40 is a direct conversion of their yen price, because when you buy this abroad, it'll usually come to about $60 a piece. And the answer is no. First up, the accessories that all of the figures get. Each figure has 1 helmetless head and 1 helmet head, but you can also pop open the helmet and remove the severed head inside to have the pilot hold an empty helmet. Then there's an assortment of hands, dark brown for Sayla, white for the other 2 pouches and a holster, again dark brown for Sayla, white for the other 2, a standard Federation service pistol, a seat belt to match the body type of the figure, and a harness that you can attach the space booster thingy to. Again, made to match the body type of the figure. However, even though we have 3 harnesses, we only get 1 of the booster things, courtesy of Not Ryu. Again, for essentially $60, would it have killed them to include 1 with each figure? But anyways, the rest of not reused accessories are the back of the seat and the targeting sensor, both extended and collapsed. Generic main character number 4 then doesn't actually come with anything special and only has extra parts for the cockpit, being the controls and the flight stick, and then Sayla comes with her famous suitcase full of gold. I'm now imagining these three trying to flee the battlefield after having found this suitcase. And then she also comes with the actual seat of the seat and the base plate that everything attaches to. And with all of the pieces assembled, let's construct our cockpit. Did this make it all worth it? Do you really want me to answer that? Let's have a look at how they move. Something that you probably are already familiar with. Because at the very least, that is the one good thing these figures have going for them. They are nicely articulated. The head isn't just on a double joint, but it is actually on a triple joint, and I can very easily show you because I just cannot get this upper ball joint to pop in. So we have an upper ball joint, then there's a ball joint connecting this thing to the neck itself, and then the neck is on another ball joint attaching it to the body. In my not Ryu, I actually got the thing to pop in, and then when I tried to remove the head, the neck came with it. So yeah, you're doomed if you can get the head to pop in, and you're doomed if you can't get the head to pop in. Then the shoulders are on, I think, a ball joint inside of the body. Then the arms are also on a ball joint, which I can also very easily show you because they also disconnect very easily. They will rotate around, bend at the elbow on 2 joints. The hands are all on pegs and also have a nice hinge joint. Then we have some very good ball joints in the body. Again, like I said, the articulation on these is actually surprisingly good. Then the legs go forwards quite nicely, backwards also pretty nicely. They go out very nicely all the way like that. They'll rotate around, then bend at the knee on 2 joints. And then finally the feet will go nicely forwards, backwards, rotate around all the way, and then they also have a toe joint, which on my Sayla figure was broken on one of the feet. So yes, there is at least one good thing that I have to say about these things. But as always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? No. Unless you're like me and you really want a generic pilot inside of a cockpit to display alongside your gyms, or you desperately want a Sayla figure inside of a cockpit to display alongside your G-Fighter or Core Booster, this is going to be a really rough sell. There is a lot of fun to be had with these little guys, but each of them has some really glaring issues that would be painful no matter the price. And to reiterate, the Sayla figure goes for 4,950 yen, and the 2 grunts go for 4,620 yen each, which brings them to about $40 a pop, but again, in real life dollars, that'll become 60. Meaning that the 3 Stooges over here are more expensive than the Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom Gundam, and roughly the same price as your average Metal Robot Spirits figure. I think I know where the real value lies, and that's really the thing I hate the most about these. When you're selling a $20 budget toy for $60, you'd better have some really good quality control. But no, based on my experience and the comments I received on my previous review on one of these figures, there is simply no quality control whatsoever. Whatever the machine making these shits out is what you're getting. And to make matters worse, they're pulling that slimy tactic to force you to buy all 3 of them if you want that pilot seat that looks like a McDonald's toy. Unfortunately, no matter what I say, this is the best and virtually only way, unless you go resin, to get some Federation pilot figures and a cockpit. So even though I don't have too much good things to say about them, part of me is still hoping for Londo, Bell, or Titans figures. Yes, I need help. I know. But for now, let's do some size comparisons. Here the gang is next to the Figma UMP9 and a Mayrin figure that I bought for 100 yen in Japan. I could have bought 129 Mayrins and they would have looked way better than these bozos. Next up we have the Robot Spirits Jim Quell and the Metal Robot Spirits Hazel. And keep in mind what I said about the price. Then we have the Figurized Standard Suletta and Miorine, and then finally we have the standard sized Jim Custom and the always bulky Zaku 3. And this shows very well that not even their size is good to justify the price. They are 10cm figures, which is about 4 inches, and roughly 1/18 scale. And that has been all for this review of these GI No figures. Links to them and more Gundam Military Generation figures down below. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.